At T-Mobile, our critical mission is providing unparalleled 5G coverage for when connectivity is mission critical. Introducing T-Priority, America's best 5G network experience for first responders, even in times of congestion. More capacity, faster speeds, better coverage. T-Priority from T-Mobile, built for tomorrow's emergencies, ready today. Discover more at t-priority.com.
For qualifying organizations on eligible rate plans, coverage not available in some areas and may be impacted by emergencies.
TaxAct knows filing your small business taxes can be a nightmare, like the kind where you're being chased by a giant W-2 form and you're running and running, but you can never reach the submit button. Or something like that. So, TaxAct offers Expert Assist with live tax experts to make filing taxes less scary. Now, you can just have pleasant dreams about being chased by other giant, non-threatening paperwork. TaxAct. Let's get them over with.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, as always, dear listener, to yet another Dockers Debate podcast. And interestingly, Robert, episode 100.
Watcher, 100? We've done 100 of these.
100 of these and 100 podcasts of people hurling abuse at us. And that other voice in the background. And ironically, for episode 100, this will always be the one we remember. We've actually got a bit of a VIP on for this one, because normally when we have other clubs on, we might have a fan or an article or a newsletter or something like that. But we've actually got Broadbridge Heath royalty, first team manager, Simo on the show. Chris Simmons, Simo to your friends, and now us, because we're your new best mates. How are we, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, and thanks for the invite.
And I've got to say, what an absolute honour to have you on the show. Woody will be delighted.
Yeah, we'll see if he's saying that after the weekend.
Yeah, if you just want to lay out all your tactics and tell him what the lineup's going to be and all that kind of stuff, I'm sure Woody will be well up for it. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'll tell you what. Before we start, before we start, leading in, should I say? Let's just start as the season going down in Broadbridge Heath from your point of view. Obviously where you find yourselves in the table and how the Ifmian's been to you.
Yeah, it's a funny one really, because we sort of overachieved last year. So it was the first season ever at Step 4, and really the target was stay in the league. In January we were second from bottom and struggling, and then we finished the season really strong and finished 9th. So this year, obviously everybody went, so you've got to be targeting better than that and playoffs, and it's like, of course the aim is to do better than you did previous year, and we think we could probably tail on the back end of the playoffs potentially. But then everybody says the second season is always harder because the teams you've played know you, they know your players. It's not sort of this little old Broadbridge Heath that are sort of playing now. It's somebody that they know, and they expect that they know our tactics and stuff like that. So we've done all right. We're ninth. We're sitting 9th currently. We're actually on exactly the same amount of points after the same amount of games as we were last year. But probably one big difference to last year is for the last probably, 6-7 weeks, we've been missing 7 or 8 of our normal squad, where we've had just so many injuries. This year we seem to have gone for like 3 months of Saturday, Tuesday games, and it's just killed our squad. We're looking now. We're back to just Saturdays again. We're looking to start getting some of them back and hopefully finish the season strong again.
Yeah, I mean, like looking at the table, like you say, you're up in 9th, and for a second season syndrome, as you say, You're doing really well, and I'm not just saying it obviously because you're on the show or anything like that, but you're just a few points off the playoffs. I know you've obviously played a couple games more. Beckham notorious pitch inspections and abandonments. They've got a few games in hand on everyone.
Yeah.
But you're in a very respectable position, very similar to like Erith and Eastbourne Town, Broadbridge around that position where really, again, as we said the other week when we had someone on, really you should be looking up more than still worrying about points you need to stay safe. I know no team likes to think about security until mathematically it happens, but as you say, like a lot of teams, and in the nicest way, with absolutely no disrespect whatsoever. Broadbridge Heath are a team. I'll hold my hands up. When Erith got promoted and we looked at the teams, I wasn't overly familiar. You're up there with some big hitters in non-league football. You've got Ramsgate, Sittingbourne, Burgess Hill, Margate, Beckenham, Sheppey, Three Bridges, then Broadbridge Heath. You're there. You're there and thereabouts on merit with the big boys.
Yeah, that's right, and we are in all honesty a village side, and we know where we sit in the experience of the Isthmian League, and to be fair, the budgets and things that people talk about. So we know where we are with that. So it's good. It's a good league, and you have to be on it on a day, which is the bit I like. Even the teams at the bottom, as we've proved recently, if you don't turn up on the day and play well, you get beat.
Yeah, exactly. And like you say, with the teams at the bottom, with all due respect, again, like we say, like obviously we're an Erith show, but we like to see it be a little bit neutral, especially on the preview shows, in the sense, we're obviously inviting other people on. Phoenix, Lancing, Steyning and Hive, they looked dead and buried a few months ago, but now they're only 2 or 3 wins away. Hive, maybe they're starting to fall away a little bit more, but Hive, again, a few weeks back, they was quite comfortably outside the bottom 4, and now they've found themselves back bottom of the table. Rob, you're the stats man at the moment. How are you seeing Broadbridge Heath and how they're doing?
Well, I think they're doing well. Interestingly, you're in 9th, like we've already said. We're in 10th, and there's only a point between us. Although we do have 4 games in hand on you.
Yeah, so you've got quite a few games, yeah.
Which is interesting from our point of view. But looking at the form guide, it's a real mixed bag. If you look back at your last 6, you've lost 2, drawn 2, won 2. So I'm guessing consistency is probably the biggest issue, unless you think 2 then 2 then 2 is consistent.
No, to be fair, the consistency is down to not being able to play the same team, and that's something that we did have at the tail end of last season. We'd normally be quite a regular squad and a regular side, whereas we're just, the team is changing. There were 3 changes to our back 4 just at the weekend, so you can't expect to make 3 changes to your back 4 and normally get good results, but Saturday was the exception to that. But that's been the thing. But we've had, it's strange because we've had a run of sort of 6 unbeaten and 4 wins, but then we've had a run of 4 or 5 losses, and then we've had, like you said, a run of 6 games of winning a couple, drawing a couple, and losing a couple. So it is just a bit up and down, really. But as I say, most of that has been the changeable squad.
Yeah, because it's not like you're winning. So if I actually look back on it, it's kind of lose, draw, win, draw, lose, win. It's not like you're losing a bunch on the trot, winning a bunch on the trot. It's that, and it must be frustrating for you as the manager, but it also must be frustrating for the players.
Yeah, it is. I mean, normally when you get on a bit of a winning run, you win a couple, you do normally go on a run like we did earlier in the season. We won 4 on a spin or whatever. And likewise, losing becomes a bit of a habit. But it's more some of it is down to the run of games that you've got. I hate to say it, but if you look at it and you go where you've got Ramsgate, Sittingbourne, Burgess Hill, teams like that,
it's not doing you any favours at all.
You can't be expecting necessarily to go on a run of 6 wins if you've got 2 of them in that middle. So and also it's the timing of when you play teams. We played Beckenham at the start of the season, and they've got a really strong side and they're flying, and they nick 2 wins against us. We play them within 2 weeks of each other, and they nick 2 wins against us, and then since then they lose a load of players. And they, and to be fair, they've dropped right off. and then you find teams are beating them, and it's like
So it's the league. It's the league's fault. It's the league's fault.
100%.
For doing the fixtures.
I must admit, the one thing I don't understand.
No, I'm joking.
No, but I don't understand how you play a team home and away within the first couple of months of a season when you haven't played other teams till like 6 or 7 months into the season. What, that doesn't seem.
Yeah, well, that happened with us a little while ago, Rob, didn't it? We had like you saying about having. I mean, we know how the table is now, when you don't know at the start of the season when the fixtures announced. But we went through a spell. I think, Rob, didn't we have something like Burgess Hill, Ramsgate, Sittingbourne, someone else, Burgess Hill, and you think, have we played Burgess Hill twice in 3 weeks?
Yeah,
when they're absolutely flying. There's a similar thing you said there with Beckenham, but You were saying about the second season syndrome and how you have survived it, if you will. You're doing really well. I practically identical position than you was in last year, which is brilliant for you guys, obviously. But how have you found the quality over the 2 seasons? I know you're talking about how teams see you, but how do you see the quality?
Yeah, I think I think probably the top sides have probably been better. I think that overall the league is probably maybe a little stronger. I mean, obviously there's been some teams that are struggling from there, but even them, they, like you said, they've strengthened and got better later on. So I would probably say it's similar, but marginally stronger maybe than last year.
But I mean, if you look at it, with us, we were very much similar to you. It's our first season up in the Isthmian, and we, like a lot of people didn't know, Rob, but we were looking at like the sort of predictions, and they predicted Erith to finish about 16th, 17th. A few predicted Erith to finish bottom, and I think this division shows that, in the nicest way, that some Skeffel teams who do very well in Skeffel will do okay, but like you say, what's caught us out a few times, and as Rob has mentioned, is games go right to the end. In Skeffel, like obviously, like over the last couple of years, you'd play someone be sort of like 3-0 up after 70 minutes and job done, or you'd be 1-0 up against someone. I'm not naming any names, but you'd think they'll be here till midnight. They won't score. But we were playing Ashford. Was it 2-0 up at half time? They went 3-2 up, 3-3, and people get you late, so you've really got to be on it.
Yeah, it's chances. What you find is, in the like our southern combination, and probably in your Skeffel, the forwards might need 3 chances to score 1, whereas in this league they take their chances. And like you said, whether it's the 92nd minute or the 96th minute, they're always coming back at you.
Yeah, it comes back to what you were saying earlier on about having to always be on it, because we've come a cropper as a team a few times this season where, we've conceded a goal on the 93rd or 92nd minute or something, and just when you think it's all done and dusted, it's not, and we've lost a few games that way, which is it's incredibly frustrating. But we've seemed to have got to grips with it now. We realise that you've got to keep going, you've got to be constantly on it. So that hasn't been such a problem recently, but yeah, it is. It is literally a different level, but it is a different level as well. So
yeah, it's and the bit you said about the forecasters putting you down the bottom. I mean, it makes me laugh because we were the same. They put us, I think, 19th or 20th, and even though we did well and we finished 9th, they put us back down there again this season and said because the centre half was our top scorer, we were going to be back down there again. It does make you laugh, really.
So getting on to I just want to get onto a little bit of the team, because you said you've got a lot of injuries, and I've just been looking at your goal scorers and stuff, and you've got Mark Goldson on 16, so he's way out in front, and then Callum Dowdall and Matthew Hay, according to the stats I'm looking at. Are they still around, or are they injured? Or
no, they've Goldie's been in and out with injury, so he's been struggling a little bit, so he's missed a few and then done bits, but been playing 50% fit. Matt Hay missed 6 weeks, 7 weeks with an injury. He's back now and fit and well, but he did miss 7 weeks. And at that time, he'd scored. I think he'd scored something like 4 or 5 games running. So he was in good form. And then, as I say, he was missing about 6 weeks or so.
So momentum's the thing that's like you've got players who've got problems with momentum as well as the team overall. It's like not getting that momentum.
Yeah, it's just hard to get a run when, like you're saying, these players are playing a couple of games and having to miss a game because of injury or whatever like that. It's hard to get that run going, really.
Yeah, obviously this is the second time the two teams have played this season. Dan at the Stanmore, was an early Ollie Merritt goal that done it. What did you think of Erith on the day that you played them?
Yeah, tough, well organised side. Defensively, very, very good. Probably, I'd say it sounds horrible to say a typical, sort of say Kent Skeffel side, but hard working, strong. Hard to find weaknesses. Normally, certainly in the lower leagues, you can always pick out, whether it's a fullback or a weakness there somewhere. But they were organised. I mean, we didn't play well on the day, and probably for both sides, we probably both said we could have taken more chances. But I think the fact you took your early chance and then did enough defensively, which showed that you were going to have a pretty solid season.
Yeah, and I think you did enough defensively to keep it to the one as well, if memory serves. So, because that could easily, I mean, on another day it could have been 1-0 the other way. It could have just been 0-0. It wasn't a game.
It certainly wasn't a game of 5 or 6 chances for either team, sort of thing. No.
Yeah, without trying to go into too many tactics, because obviously we are where we are. Who's been your star players this year? Who's the ones that Broadbridge Heath fans? If we had a Broadbridge Heath fan on the phone, Simo, what would they say was a good player?
Oh, that's a good question, actually. I don't know. Probably, I'd probably we've had a defender that's probably been right up there. He's played in pretty much every defensive position going. Sean Terry's been excellent. And then probably the young lads. So Matt Hay that you mentioned, he's only 19. And then a loanee that we've got from Dorking Wanderers is another youngster that's been outstanding. But part of the problem is, if you like, last year's player of the season, managers players from them have ended up missing 5, 6, 7 weeks injured again. So it's been hard to get that.
So looking ahead to Saturday's game, and let's hoping that the rain stops fairly soon, because we could do without having another game getting cancelled. How do you see it going? What do you think is going to be? I mean, you said obviously you think we've got a strong defence and stuff, but we're both coming at it from after what has been quite a hard campaign all round. Albeit we're both, I would like to say safe now and not looking up rather than looking down.
Yeah.
How do you see it? How do you see the game going on Saturday?
I'd like to think it'd be another close game. I've got to say our home form's been terrible, so it's about time we change that. I think in the form guide we're something like 4th in the league for away from home, but 4th from bottom at home. So we could do a change in that stat by the end of the season. Yeah, I think it'd be a close game. I think we definitely could do with the rain sticking off. Pitch is pretty wet. So,
what's your home attendances like and the atmosphere? Because obviously, with Erith, I'm not going to lie. We do well to get the numbers in that we do. They've obviously increased from a couple of years ago when we was at the Erith Leisure Centre, and they have been gradually going up over the years, which is fantastic. A lot of families coming in, but where we are geographically, we're in the middle of about a 5-mile radius of about 25 clubs from Championship all the way down to, like you're talking Kent League. How does the geographical location help you guys? What are your numbers like? It's just out of curiosity for those who don't really know too much about them.
I think we average maybe 130, 140. We've had up to sort of 260, 270. Something like that. Local derbies normally are better, so you close games and stuff. Or like Ramsgate the other day they probably brought 100 with them on a Tuesday night, which was fantastic. But we struggle a little bit because Horsham are literally 5 minutes down the road, and where they've been doing so well and such a great setup and stuff, they get about 1,200-1,300, something like that. Wow. So if we end up being at home the same day as them, we do struggle. So.
Yeah, it's a bit like when we went down to Croydon, wasn't it, Rob? That wasn't a particularly high attendance because I think Palace were at home that day, and I think they had Fulham, so you had a lot of London fans obviously going down there. And as a Millwall fan who's playing Palace this weekend, I can't think of anything worse than going to Selhurst Park. But no, it's. I mean, we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a very, very close one. I think this might be the only time we won't ask you for a score prediction.
Yeah. I'm probably not going to give it to you because it will come back and get me one way or the other.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go. Rob, what do we reckon?
I'm going to say it's a difficult one. I think we're going to win. I'm going to put my neck on the block. Given that your away form isn't as good as it might be, your home form rather isn't as good as it could be. I'm going to go for a nice 2-0, easy 2-0.
Simo there's face is getting redder and redder as he's on the call.
Well, I've got to put up for the Dockers, haven't I? So
you got 100%. I'd have been disappointed in you as a supporter if you hadn't gone that way, really.
All right, okay. In that case, 4-0 Erith. No, do you know what? I think I'll go. I think I'll go for a very close 1-0 away win. Sorry, Simo.
As I say, I wouldn't expect any different.
Own goal as well, make it even better. But no, I'll tell you what, we'll wrap this up now because it's coming up about 25 past, and that when we get the little thing coming that says the time's running out. But no, honestly, Simo, absolutely brilliant to have you on. Thank you for your time. Absolutely outstanding to have you on, and thank you so much because again, I know sometimes some clubs can be a little bit funny about people coming on and all that kind of thing. So
no problem, guys. Appreciate it.
Rob, anything you want to add?
Just no, thanks a lot. It was great. All I'm going to say now is just up the Dockers.
Yeah, up the Dockers.
Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.